Hello everybody, I'm Rick Chambers for Professorate.com, and today's segment is staying safe on your trip. When traveling anywhere you're unfamiliar with, it's never fun to ruin your trip because you're concerned about the locals. Now that said, you're going to be in contact with a lot of people that you don't know, often in the least comfortable parts of that town. And you're going to stand out. And on top of that, if you act and dress the part of a rich tourist, you'll also be behaving like you're a walking billboard shouting, "I've got money." So there are objective reasons to be careful here. But when thinking about the issue in terms of foreign travel, the first thing to ask yourself is, would you show up at a bus station at 11 o'clock at night in downtown LA, or St. Louis, Detroit, or Miami with Louis Vuitton luggage, and then expect the locals out there on the streets to offer you a ride to your hotel in their Porsche? Well, in fact, you may very well arrive in the center of Vienna, or Prague, or Rome, or Berlin at 11 o'clock at night, and be greeted by safe, well-organized taxi stands, safe and efficient bus depots, and safe, busy urban railways. They will be safer if you dress down, of course. However, and leave the Louis Vuitton luggage at home, please. Dress like you're a local. Pack like you're just ordinary folk. You do this, and the bad apples are more likely to stake out somebody else. Now, having said all that, here are a few additional pointers to remember. In general, the safest areas of European cities are exactly the opposite of what you would find here in America, the center. Central cities tend to be packed with strollers and partygoers until late into the evening. It is the outlying areas of those cities that tend to be a bit dodgier. Now, one of the great pleasures of a city like Rome, for example, is wandering around late at night. The shadowy alleys and the byways, the Renaissance and Baroque palaces lit by artificially designed lamplight. Silent, but for the splashing of the fountains. It's a magical experience, to say the least. The historical centers of places like Rome and Florence, Siena, Venice, Ferrara, Bologna and Modena, Mantovia and Verona, Vicenza. These are the paradises of romance at night. Wandering around even at 2 o'clock in the morning is likely to be far safer than taking a stroll around much of Cincinnati, say at noon. The areas directly around the train stations, however, they tend to be the worst parts of town. Now this is especially true around the Stazione dei Termini in Rome and the Gare de l'Est in Paris. Now in Rome, the biggest risk tends to be pickpockets and bag snatchers. In Paris, armed mugging is not unknown there, especially north of the center and east of Montmartre. Now, farther afield, Asian cities, they tend to be fairly safe, really. Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Tokyo, Beijing, most of the big capital cities are orderly and they're well patrolled by police. Where there is political unrest, though, like in southern Thailand, for example, then there's a little bit of an element of danger for you. The simple solution here, if going to Thailand, check in with the U.S. State Department. Their website there provides updated information about dangerous areas everywhere in the world. For example, Phuket in Thailand, a very popular holiday resort on the beach, is considered safe, even though it's very close to a hotbed of Islamic radical activity. If you go there, it's smarter to fly in and out of the same place. Now, despite this, your chances of becoming a victim of political violence far smaller than that of drowning in the surf or getting run over by a car one night when you've had a little too much to drink and you're out wandering around in the streets. Forgetting that in many countries, they drive on the left side of the road. Don't forget that. In conclusion, going to Europe, you should be fine. Watch your wallets while you're out on the streets and the trains and on the buses. Rural Asia, generally good to go, really, but know the local lore there and read the State Department advisories on the area. And do know that there are some nasty problems out there as well. For instance, the drug war in Mexico is beginning to affect tourists now. Violent crime is a problem even for foreigners in places like Jamaica, Brazil, Russia, certain cities in Africa as well. But before you get too scared to travel, just remember that old saying, how are you going to keep them back on the farm now that they've seen Paris? I'm Rick Chambers for Professorate.com. Have a great trip, but remember, have a safe one too.